I make it no secret that I am a massive Batman fan. He is my favorite fictional character of all time. The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies of all time, and the Dark Knight trilogy is my favorite trilogy of all time. For me, it is highly unlikely that any other future Batman project will ever top that, but Mask of the Phantasm is about the closest thing. It is my favorite non-Nolan Batman movie, and quite possibly my favorite animated movie of all time. Mask of the Phantasm is far from a new movie. In fact, it's over 30 years old. It came out in 1993, 3 years before I was born. I remember renting it from the video store and watching it a lot as a kid, and I remember liking it, but not fully appreciating it to the same degree that I do as an adult. I always thought the stuff with Phantasm and Joker was entertaining, but I didn't care much for the Andrea story as a kid. Rewatching this film as an adult, I have come to fully appreciate the character work, themes, and emotional weight of this film, as well as the mystery aspects and the surface level entertainment. Let's dive in. I will be spoiling this movie, so if you haven't seen it, please do yourself the favor, then come back and watch this video. Mask of the Phantasm does so many things right. It is a very well-rounded film, but let's start off with the film's namesake, the Phantasm itself. The Phantasm, along with Scarecrow, is definitely one of the creepier Batman villains, especially in animation. The look is very creepy, the voice is very creepy.
Your angel of death awaits.
You ain't the Bat!
They set up a very intriguing mystery as to who the Phantasm is, and whoever this person is straight up kills the mobsters. The movie makes no secret about that. They are absolutely ruthless. It's very horror-esque, and the Phantasm is very much like a horror villain, and as a horror fan myself, I very much appreciated that. It's like a much more extreme version of Batman. A Batman that really crosses the line and goes over the edge and is completely driven by revenge and vengeance. Whoever this person is, they are killing bad people, but they're clearly crossing the line and need to be stopped, setting up a really compelling conflict for the story in the current timeline between Batman and the Phantasm, trying to figure out who it is and trying to stop them. Everything about this character, the Phantasm, works, and it totally freaked me out as a kid. It feels very supernatural with the voice and the way that the Phantasm disappears into the smoke. The Phantasm scenes, as well as the movie as a whole, but specifically the Phantasm scenes, include a fantastic score from the great Shirley Walker, who also worked on Batman the Animated Series as well as the '89 movie. I have mentioned in some of my other videos that I am a huge score guy. Scores are incredibly important to me, especially for movies like this that rely so heavily on atmosphere and emotion. Walker captures the appropriate vibe perfectly in every scene with her music, enhancing the eeriness of the Phantasm and the emotional weight of the Bruce and Andrea scenes. Speaking of Bruce and Andrea, the character work in this film is incredible. Mask of the Phantasm is the most Bruce Wayne-centric story that I have ever seen, and it is my favorite Bruce Wayne story of all time. And we understand him, his philosophy, and many of his decisions much better, especially within the DCAU, after watching this film. He fell in love with this woman, Andrea Beaumont, voiced by the great Dana Delaney, and almost didn't become Batman because of her. He is torn between his love for her and the responsibility he feels to prevent anyone from facing the same childhood trauma that he did with the loss of his parents. The scene at his parents' graves is absolutely gut-wrenching. He made them a promise, but he did not expect someone like Andrea to come into his life, and he hopes that they would forgive him for choosing her instead of going down this path. This, by the way, might be Kevin Conroy's absolute best work ever as the character of Batman and Bruce Wayne, particularly the Bruce Wayne side of him. And Conroy is always great. You 100% buy into his love story with Andrea, and you feel for Bruce's dilemma. He clearly can't have both, and if Andrea's dad wasn't involved with some bad people, which we slowly get more pieces of as the film goes along, Bruce would have never became Batman. And that brings me to my next point, which is the fact that they weaved these two timelines, these two different stories together perfectly and seamlessly in a way that enhances both timelines. While we watch the mobsters drop like flies and investigate the Phantasm in the current timeline, we get this incredible love story and are slowly given more information about Andrea's dad, the stuff he was into, how that impacted Andrea's life, the motivation behind the Phantasm's murder spree, and who it could be. They pull a big 180 on you, though. They plant seeds to make you firmly believe that the Phantasm is Andrea's father, Carl Beaumont, such as her arriving to town after the first killing, no one knowing where he is or what he's up to, and him and the Phantasm both being voiced by the same person, the great Stacy Keach, who did a fantastic job in this movie. It's not till towards the end of the movie that we find out that not only the Phantasm is actually Andrea and that Carl is dead, but also that he was killed by the Joker hired by the mobsters Andrea has been killing. By the way, the moment where Bruce looks closer at the picture and realizes one of the mobsters actually is Joker is fantastic. And they reveal that Carl was sold out to the mob by whom Andrea thinks is her friend, Arthur Reeves, voiced by the great Hart Bachner, I hope I said that right, aka Harry Ellis from Die Hard.
Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
It's a great fit because he plays basically the same rich, smarmy character in this that he did in Die Hard. So the whole love story almost caused Bruce to not take up the Batman mantle. He was so close to never being Batman. His broken heart is the reason he is Batman, and is the reason he refuses to enter serious relationships anymore. This is a very broken man, and this movie highlights that perfectly. And on the flip side, Andrea's father's business is the reason that their breakup happened, the reason Andrea couldn't be with Bruce, and then her father getting subsequently killed because of the business he was in is the reason she took up the mantle of the Phantasm and started killing everyone responsible. These characters had very parallel storylines, and all of this brought together both stories in a way that honestly, in my opinion, is better than any other movie with multiple timelines has ever done. Sorry, Godfather 2. I love how the movie highlights the similarities and differences in Bruce and Andrea's storylines. They both lost parents, causing them to go down these paths of vengeance, but Andrea took it much further than Bruce did, and that's what separates them. Joker doesn't come in until the second half of the film, but his presence is absolutely necessary and welcomed. I mean, when is it not? Mark Hamill is just so damn good as this character, and he always brings it his all. Easily a top 2 Joker for me, behind Heath Ledger. In fact, if you tell me that he's better than Ledger, I'm not going to argue with you. They are very close for me. This movie has, in my opinion, one of Hamill's best laughs as the Joker, probably in second place for me after the one in Justice League Season 1, Injustice for All, but it is a really, really good one. He is so good at that. Not only does he bring his usual mix of creepiness and comedy, but he absolutely has a place in the story. He is ultimately the guy who pulled the trigger on Andrea's father, and he's the only person to outsmart her, killing Sal before she can and using him as bait to trap her was absolutely brilliant. Joker is always one step ahead of everyone and always in control in every scene, and you could tell how scared Sal Valestra was, the big mob boss of the Joker. Sal, by the way, is voiced by the late, great Abe Vigoda, and he is great. The voice casting all around for this film was fantastic. The final confrontation was very intense and brought the movie home in a big or small, given the setting, way. The action is great, the setting is cool, there are several layers and elements to this battle, the stakes are high, and the emotional weight is there. Bruce is simultaneously trying to stop Joker while also trying to prevent Andrea from killing him, which is her sole goal to complete her revenge, while Joker, as always, is just having a ton of fun. Ultimately, this is the last time that Bruce will ever see Andrea that I'm aware of, and he is seemingly unable to convince her to spare the Joker as she disappears into the smoke with Joker. Though, we do see her in the epilogue in what seems to be a reflective state, and we see Joker later in the DCAU, so it is heavily implied that Bruce may have gotten through to her and she probably decided to spare him and move on with her life. But Bruce, once again, is left heartbroken after getting a glimmer of hope and has to return to doing his Batman deeds as he has been doing for the last several years. So close once again to being able to put the cape and cowl down. Overall, Batman Mask of the Phantasm is a damn near flawless animated movie. It's quite short, it's about an hour and 15 minutes long, but it uses that runtime so well and accomplishes so much. It weaves together two great stories in two different timelines perfectly. The themes of love and revenge are explored to perfection with both Bruce and Andrea in similar as well as different ways. The pacing is perfect. I never am not glued to the screen for a single second of this film. The action lands. The voice acting is incredible across the board. The stakes are high. Shirley Walker's score is great and captures all of the vibes and emotions in every scene. It builds intrigue so well as to what's going on with the Phantasm and who is it. It explores Bruce Wayne in a way that no other Batman project has, really digging deep into him as a person and his psyche and why he almost didn't become Batman, and it packs a massive emotional punch. This is a movie that I am consistently thinking about, watching scenes from, talking about, and listening to the music from. By the way, the end credits song is fantastic. I Never Even Told You by Tia Carrera. I listen to that damn near daily, especially since the great Kevin Conroy passed away. Rest in peace, you absolute king. But the fact that I am constantly watching scenes and thinking about the movie is always a good sign. That's how you know a movie left an impact on you and you love it. I have found a whole new love for Mask of the Phantasm as an adult. It hits me on a whole new level now, and it has become a new yearly staple for me. I just can't get enough of it. But the question is, what do you think about Batman Mask of the Phantasm? Do you love it as much as I do? Do you not? Do you have some problems with it? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. I love talking about this movie with as many people as possible. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for some more content. I will see you soon.